So now we'll go through the features of the EU edition of the VPAT. The EU edition was created to support the EN 301549 standard, which is titled Accessibility Requirements for ICT Products and Services. It's used in many regulations as the basis for accessibility requirements in many countries, including the European Union, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, India, and Kenya. If you are reporting conformance to the EN 301549 standard, you can use either the EU or the INT editions of the VPAT. For the EU edition of the VPAT, the applicable standards and guidelines table has been pre-assigned that WCAG 2.0 and 2.1 levels A and AA criteria are included in the report, as well as the EN 301549. The included in report section indicates yes for those items. So if you will also be reporting conformance to level AAA criteria for either WCAG 2.0 or 2.1 or both, then indicate yes for those. If not, indicate no. Similar to the 508 edition, the WCAG report section of the EU edition includes references to the related EN clauses, as well as different categories in the conformance level and remarks and explanations column, based on the requirements in the EN 301549 standard. In this example, the WCAG criteria for 1.1.1 non-text content and 1.2.1 audio only and video only pre-recorded reference the corresponding EN 301549 clauses, and the conformance level and remarks and explanations columns include categories for web, electronic docs, software, closed functionality, and authoring tools. This makes it easy to report the WCAG conformance results for these aspects of your products in one table. Also similar to 508, the EN 301549 does not require all WCAG criteria for non-web documents and software. The criteria that are not to be evaluated are clearly shown in the VPAT with the text does not apply. The example here is 2.4.2 page titled, which the EN 301549 lists as void in their standard in clause 11 software. So in the VPAT, it's marked as does not apply in the criteria column. And in the software category has been removed from the conformance level and remarks and explanations columns. In the EN 301549, there are some exceptions for a number of WCAG criteria, meaning they're not required. The EN 301549 is a little inconsistent in the language that they use when they have an exception, noting them as void or does not have to meet or not applicable. It varies. One example is 2.4.1 bypass blocks, where non-web documents and software, including closed functionality software, are not required to meet the criterion. A more unusual example is 2.4.2 page titled, where documents are required to meet the criterion, but software is not. All of these exceptions are reflected in the WCAG tables of the VPAT with the notation does not apply. The one unique item I want to point out with WCAG 2.0 and 2.1, they changed 4.1.1 parsing to indicate the criteria is automatically met. So the VPAT does the same and marks those as supports in the conformance level column. In addition to the WCAG tables, the EU also features tables for the various clauses in the EN 301549 standard. Tables are provided for each clause from Clause 4, Functional Performance Statement, to Clause 13, ICT providing relay or emergency service access. So this is a sample table from the EU VPAT showing Clause 5, generic requirements. Similar to other tables where a clause is not setting a requirement, it's clearly marked as a heading cell, no response required. Similarly, with clauses that are covered by more detailed requirements, a reference is added, like 5.1.2.1 closed functionality, which points the user to clauses 5.2 through 13. WCAG conformance is handled similar to 508 and INT editions. Clauses 9, 10, and 11 in the EN 301549 have requirements for WCAG conformance for web content, non-web documents, and software and documentation support services. And the EU VPAT redirects readers to the WCAG 2.x section. Likewise, the clause 12 for documentation and support services handled in that same manner with a document link to the WCAG 2.x report section. Optionally, you can integrate the WCAG tables into each of these clauses if you desire. As with other VPAT additions, tables that don't apply can be removed. Don't forget to write some notes for the section where the tables or requirements were removed and indicate why.